Hey, Adam Hooksema here from ProjectionHub, and in this video, I'm going to be focusing on why is it so hard to get SBA approval for a new or emerging franchise. So I have a lot of clients who reach out looking to start a franchise. They want to buy into a franchise, and oftentimes what I've been noticing lately is that a lot of times they want to buy into a newer franchise because the more established franchises, I think one of the reasons is they've already sold the best territories. So the territory that you probably want is maybe not available in the more established franchise. And so there's a new shiny franchise that maybe does something similar that hasn't sold your city or your territory yet, right? And so you think, okay, well, it's a very similar franchise, it does the same type of business. I'll just buy into the new territory and should be pretty straightforward, right? Well, the SBA has a couple of hurdles around this. So the first hurdle is just they need to be an approved franchise on the SBA approved franchise list. So the very first thing you got to do is check the SBA approved franchise list and see if this particular franchise is even approved. All right. Once you do that, though, there's really another hurdle. You need to have some operating history. The franchisor itself needs to have been franchising for a while, and it needs to have some history of success of its franchisees, and ideally have some other clients who have some other franchisees who have gotten an SBA loan and have made payments on that and paid that back, right? That's the ideal scenario. But the question is, like, if you're one of the first people to try to get an SBA loan with this new franchise, like how do you do that, right? If all the banks are going to be looking to see if there's a history, how does a new franchise even get the initial franchisees? How do they get them to secure an SBA loan? And that can really be a challenge. And so what we've noticed is that lenders actually are more open to you starting a brand new independent business, a non-franchise. They'll often think that is less risky than you buying into a brand new, only a year or 2 or 3 old new franchise concept. And the reason is really because there's 2 parts of risk when you buy into a new franchise. There's the risk of you as the business, like your business itself, your particular franchise unit as a startup, it might not work. There could be problems, right? That's the standard risk of any startup loan for a small business. But in these smaller emerging franchises, newer franchises, there's an extra layer of risk that the franchise itself may not survive. It may not get to critical mass. You really need to get to a certain number of franchise units for the franchisor to make any money, for it to actually make sense as a franchise. And so a lot of times the risk could be the franchise system itself fails, or it's not supporting you as the franchisee very well. And so the SBA lender looks at your risk as a particular business owner, but also the franchisor's risk, right? And so that's why it ends up actually potentially being more risky to do that in a new franchise startup than just doing a completely independent business on your own. So if you have a deal that you're looking at, a business you're looking at, you want to start, and you're thinking about some different franchise options, there are some franchise scoring systems like FranData that the lenders typically have access to that kind of gives a credit score, if you will, about how's this particular franchise score from an SBA lender perspective. That could be helpful. We could help kind of find that out for you. If you want to reach out to us, we can help you understand that. How would a lender look at different franchises that you're reviewing? But then, if the franchise you really want is brand new, you might consider, should you just go independent, should you just start this on your own, you might end up actually having better luck getting approved by an SBA lender. So hopefully that's been helpful. If you've got a deal that you're looking at, want some feedback on your particular situation, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you. So you can reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. Be happy to give you a perspective on, from an SBA lender perspective. I was a lender myself for 12 years, closed about 1,500 loans, and have looked at a lot of different deals. So I'd love to give you some feedback and thoughts on how to make a deal work for you. All right, thanks.